welcome back to my channel and part 3 of Get to Know My Pet or Meet My Pet Tag. Today we're here with my most troublesome of the pack. If you guys are new to my channel or new to this neck of the woods, I do have 4 dogs. It's not like I went out and bought 4 dogs, you guys. It just happened that way. And today we're here with part 3, and part 3 is Sophia. Sophia is my schnoodle, and she is the one that gives me scares and heart attacks and makes me mad and gives me the extra work. And believe it or not, she's the one that's not on medication. She's not the one that makes me rush home twice a day for insulin shots. She is apparently right now healthy, but she could really use an attitude adjustment. You want to say hi? It took me a while to get around to her video because she needs an attitude adjustment, and you can't make her do what she doesn't want to do. Ever. So this is Sophia, and you guys are probably familiar with her because she tends to crash all my videos, intros and outros. The minute she hears me say, hey you guys, or all right you guys, that's it for, or whatever, she runs over and she's like, is that my cue? Is that my cue for me to be on camera? So, I don't even know where to begin with this girl. She was a gift to me from my ex-husband. And it was one of those things where you can't say no to a gift, even though the gift's alive. So, we got stuck with the dog. Sophia is a 10-year-old puppy mill schnoodle. She has a lot of issues in the way her body is created, the way her body formed in the womb when she was puppy milled. So my ex and I were on a date, and he's always had this fascination with going into pet stores and spending time with the pets. He says, you know, they're lonely, we should hang out with them for a little bit. And so for me, that's something that was always very difficult to do because I want to bring them all home with me. That would be as challenging as like volunteering at a shelter because you want to help all of them. You want to take them all home, right? We were at the mall and he's like, let's go to the pet store. And I was like, no, that's too hard for me. But we went anyway. And the dogs were actually all on clearance because the pet store was going to be shut down. Word on the street was that this pet store was doing things they weren't supposed to with these animals, and they were going to get shut down anyway. So they were trying to get rid of all the puppies. Now, the other rumor was, and this is what the jeweler said, is that by the end of the day, they were going to remove all the dogs off the premises and take them to a shelter. Now, the majority of California shelters are kill shelters. So when my ex found that out, he was like, well, she's already on clearance and, you know, she's really cute. What happened was we went in and we played with a bunch of the puppies, and she was the only one that didn't want to play. So she looked, my mom would call her trappy, like trapo, which means rag. She just looked like a little fluffy towel or rag or like cloud. She was just all fuzz. I'll show you guys some pictures. She was just all fuzz, and she got in my ex's lap, and then he picked her up and she kind of just like necked him. Or what is that called? Like where you just lay, just kind of what she's doing right now. But she laid her head on his neck and fell asleep. So there was no playing involved. There was no like chasing and doing little puppy nibbly things. She just laid on his neck and fell asleep. And he was like, I can't leave her here. Like they're going to take him to the shelter at the end of the day. I can't in good conscience or good faith leave her here. Do you want a puppy? And I was like, no. And he was like, congratulations, I already bought her. And so her nickname became Clarence Puppy. But I mean, we brought her home. I was still living with my parents at the time, and I had the Topo, my Chihuahua, and I still had Pee-wee, my very first dog ever. He passed away at 17, the age of 17, 2 days after I got married. Anyway, so I was going to work and I was gone all day. So I would have to lock her in my room for hours at a time, and she'd like scratch at the door and she'd whine and cry, and I'd come home and she would have like ripped up everything in my room. She was like such a troublemaker. That whole thing of, laying on your neck and falling asleep like she's doing right now, it was all a farce. It was all fake. She had a plan. She was like terror on wheels. She was a terror in my house. She was a Tasmanian devil. And when you would tell her not to do something, she would just directly stare at you and be like, yeah, I did it. So. And the funny thing is that all of my dogs understand discipline in very different ways. You know, like Wesley, you could just talk to Wesley and he figures it out if he needs to be disciplined ever, because he's such a good dog. The Topo would get like a little tap, it was like a spank, but he's so little that you just like smack him a little. Ernie has to be yelled at. If you yell at her, she gets super sad. And she stops what she's doing. Like she gets scared. This one, you could spank her, you could yell at her, you could spray her in the face, you could do every possible form of disciplinary action, and she will continue to do what she wants to do because she wants to do it because she's Sophia and that's her thing. So her name is Sophia Renata. That's her name. She has a bunch of songs that we sing to her in this house, but most importantly, she talks to you. And so you ask her about her day and she will talk back. You will tell her not to do something and she will talk back. You will ask her a question and she will talk back. Her schnoodle howl is hilarious. I'll try to capture it for you guys and put it in this video, but it's so funny. I mean, you sing to her and she'll like call back. ¿Qué tienes? What's the matter? What's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? Why are you so sassy? Why are you so sassy? Are you okay? Did you have a good day? She's the one that's given me the most trouble out of all my dogs. In fact, she actually got me kicked out of a vet clinic in San Diego. So rewind, when I still lived at home, she would sleep on the coffee table. And my mom would be like, Sophia, get off the table. And she'd be like, I'm sorry, what? Sophia, bájate de la mesa. And she'd go, woo! She'd do her howl. And it just became a joke where it was like, you try to discipline her and she would talk back and then you would just laugh. So she would get away with it. She was so cute with her howl that she would just get away with it and no one would say anything because it was like, oh, look how cute she howls. Hey, do you want me to put you down? Because do you guys see how she's laying? She's completely comfortable, but do you want to get down? How about put you here in your little crib? Okay, so she just does this cute little howl. She gets away with everything and anything. We got married, I moved out, we bought our own house, and I started to notice that one of her eyes would completely shut. She would start off with like, oh, it kind of seems like an infection, or like her eye is a little itchy, and then it would just completely crust over and just shut closed. Take her to the vet would give her erythromycin, just random ophthalmic ointment, and be like, all right, just do this until the tube's gone and she'll be fine, and boom, it would flare up again and again and again and again. So I spent thousands of dollars at this vet in Otay Ranch. Y'all know, if you're from Southern California, Otay Ranch is a boosh-tastic neighborhood, so these vets are making pretty good money. Now, after spending, I think it was about almost $3,000 on just having her come in and do, oh, maybe she has the corneal abrasion. Let's do the dye, you know, the little fluorescein angiogram type dyes that they do to see if there's a scratch. And every time it was like, let's do that. Oh, let's do the same stuff over and over. I'm like, you guys aren't getting to the bottom of this. Something's obviously wrong with her if she can't counter this infection. It goes away and then it comes back. So I didn't know where else to take her. I didn't know if there were any like vet, like ophthalmologists around. At that point, I mean, my only experience was having the Topo that had Demodex. Like that was it. And so I got so furious after spending almost $3 grand. So I left this super pissed off Yelp review with dates and times and prescriptions and everything, right? Well, they got so mad that the next time we showed up for an appointment with another one of our dogs, they had our file like in a manila envelope, and they were like, we no longer want to serve your pets here. And so it was a file of all their records so that we could go anywhere else. But you know what? Whatever. It was true. They were, taking our money. And I was just frustrated because as a pet parent, I don't care how much it's going to cost me as long as it's going to fix the problem. But if you're not finding a solution to see what she's doing right now? She does this when she doesn't want to participate in something. So like if we're all hanging out and we're like, oh yeah, let's play, whatever, she'll intentionally face the opposite direction. I'm telling you, she's Queen Sass. So I don't care to spend money on my dogs. I want them to get better. My whole purpose is to make them better. And so regardless of what it costs me, I need an answer. I need a solution, not just a Band-Aid. So it was so weird. I knew something was wrong. We finally took them to a different doctor. And it turns out that she was born with 2 ocular malformations. So not only does she have strabismus, which means her eyes are crossed. You guys, her eyes are full on crossed, like full on crossed. I don't know how to show you guys. You have to flash a flashlight in her eyes and you'll see how crossed her eyes are. I don't know how this little girl gets around. So that was her first malformation. The second malformation is one of her tear ducts didn't finish developing, so she's not able to produce tears in one of her eyes. Hence the continuous eye infections. So that took like 1 doctor appointment or 1 vet appointment to this other doctor that we found. I was so mad. So basically she's permanently on just an artificial tear. And any time that the seasons change drastically, she could potentially get an eye infection. The cool thing is though that after we moved to Dallas, I don't know if it's the weather here, she hasn't gotten a single eye infection. You just kind of have to pay attention to how she's blinking, and you can tell right away if one of her eyes is a little dry. You can automatically tell. So y'all know how I am with my dogs. Like I'm on top of it. So the minute I see her kind of blinking a little differently, I'll just put artificial tears. And it's like a Neosporin, like a little ointment. And it stays in there all day. You can apply it as much or as little as she needs. And she has not gotten an infection since. But she's given us plenty of other stuff to worry about. So Sophia never took the adoption of Ernie well. She never accepted her. She never liked her. She never wanted to be around her. And Ernie is a very social dog. She wants to be in the mix. She wants to be with all the dogs. She wants to play and jump in the pool and catch balls and jump on the trampoline. Like Ernie's a social creature, and she never took well that Sophia didn't like her. And so they were good for maybe the first 2 years. And then after that, they had their first fight. I was pregnant with my second son, and they fought to the point where she got puncture wounds on her body. It wasn't like attack to kill type of fight. It was more like a warning. So Ernie bit her in different places of her body and left little puncture wounds. So I took her to the emergency room. They took care of her. She didn't need anything really except like antibiotics. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. So I let a few weeks go by and they were fine, back to normal. And it was kind of one of those things where you stay on your side, I stay on mine, we leave each other alone. And it's so weird because the 4 times that these dogs have had a fight, that whole day you feel that this heavy tension, this like almost territorial animal, just this weird vibe in the house. And so their fights just got progressively worse, to the point where I've ended up in emergency rooms Sophia has ended up in, you know, emergency rooms. She's had to have her neck basically stitched back together. Ernie got to the point where she didn't want Sophia at that point. She couldn't really, I think she never really accepted the fact that Sophia doesn't want to be her friend. And so Sophia would taunt her or tease her, and Ernie just wouldn't have it. She's, I mean, look at her. She's 14 pounds. Like, can she even take anything? Can she take anybody? Can she take a bag of potatoes? No. So she's 14 pounds, and Ernie just got to the point where she was like, you're gonna tease me, I'm gonna kill you. And that was it. The very last fight that they had was on Christmas Eve. We had our suitcases by the door. So my parents were gonna leave in an Uber to go to the airport. I was gonna sit and hang out and drop off the dogs for boarding at this pet hotel that I used. This was before Rafael. And so I was gonna drop off the dogs and then meet them at the airport. We were gonna fly back to San Diego and then celebrate Christmas there. I didn't have my sons that Christmas, so I didn't wanna be by myself. So you just kind of sense this aura happening, this energy, and you were like, oh God, it's about to go down. And sure enough, Sophia came in from outside going potty, and the minute she came in, Ernie just grabbed her by the neck and just, I mean, it was awful. When I tried to separate them, I wasn't really educated at how you separate fighting dogs, you know, so I know now, just in case, I want to be prepared, but at that point, what do? You go in straight for the mouth and you try to pry it open. So when I did that, I just sliced my hand completely open. I mean, just from Ernie biting me, trying to bite her. And that was it. I said, look, this is the 4th fight they've had. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do besides give Ernie away. And I'm of the firm belief that when you choose to adopt an animal, you're making them a lifetime promise that regardless of what happens, you're gonna have their back. That's a promise. It's like having a kid. You have a kid, oh, guess what? Your kid is special needs or has behavioral issues. You can't just give it away. And I guess I'll never understand you know, people that make those decisions. I don't judge them for it because I would hate someone to judge me for having my dogs that fight in my home. But I just think that, you know, it's a living creature, it's a living being, it deserves to live just as much as everyone else. And if you're promising them a good life or to take care of them, that's what you should be doing. So I had just dropped off my son at school and I was driving back home and I just started bawling. I had just become resolute to the idea that I was gonna find out how to rehome Ernie. And you guys will never know the full backstory of why Ernie is so important to me, but deciding to get rid of her was a very hard decision. And so I'm like driving home bawling, like, oh my God, now I have to find like healer rescues or rehome her somehow. And I have to be honest with people that she, you know, bit my dog and no one's gonna want her and I can't keep her even though I want to. And I was just a mess. And Mr. Pitt's van just drives up right next to me. So Mr. Pitt is a dog behaviorist, and he has a bright blue van with like those like wraparound stickers all over it. And he was like, dog behaviorist, dog boarding, dog this, dog that, doggy daycare, doggy camp. And I was like, should I? Could I? And I gave him a call and he was a godsend. Now, I haven't gotten to the point where I'm ready to reunite my girl dogs. Mr. Pitt comes over all the time. He's with the dogs all the time. He boards the dogs for me all the time. And the girls are together in his presence and they get along just fine. If you guys saw a previous weekend vlog where Wesley had his birthday party, they're together and they're fine. When I'm home and it's just me and the boys and we're doing our day-to-day activities, I'm still extremely scared to reunite them. I know I could, and I know that it's going to take work, and I know that I need to change certain behaviors in how I interact with my dogs and how much I humanize them, but I'm just not ready, you know? And I know Mr. Pitt is just kind of anxiously waiting in the wings to behavior modify me, not necessarily my dogs. And he's really good at it. You know, he's taught me a few things that I need to do. I'm just not ready for it yet. I think the very last time that they got into a fight, Sophia screamed in a way that it's just kind of like burned into my memory, and I will still wake up maybe once a month, twice a month, and I'll be just covered in sweat, crying and super scared because I can see it happening all over again. And it was so scary because two creatures, two little beings, two of your dog babies that you love the most in this world, one is screaming for help and the other one is like rabidly attacking her. And these are two things that you love the most, and those are in two lights that you never want to see them in. You never want to see your dog crying for help, and you never want to see one of your dogs, you know, being so angry and destructive. It changes the way that you view these little creatures that you love so much and that you promise to take care of. So Sophia now is 10. She'll be 11 in March. She is a great dog, but she has an attitude problem. You know, she wants to be the only girl dog in the house. But she's also the most loyal of all the 4 dogs. I mean, she is ride or die. She's my companion. She's the only one that is allowed to sleep with me. She's just a character, you know? She's one of those people that has a very unique personality, and you're either gonna love her or hate her. And just by every single person that has met my dogs, I can tell you this: she's everyone's least favorite. If I'm 100% transparent with you guys and I'm allowed to use a bad word, she's an asshole. But the good thing about her, besides her loyalty, is that she's healthy. You know, besides her like ocular malformations and her crooked little feet and her little nubbin tail, she's a healthy dog. She does some weird little behaviors, like if she just meets you, she will come right up to your face, and no one believes me unless they come to my house and they experience it for themselves, and then they think it's the most hilarious thing. So she'll come up to you, she'll sit in your lap, and she'll get about this close to you. Like, you know when you're little and you're like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, kind of like that. She gets that close to you. She doesn't lick you at all. She just looks at you. And her thing is, she doesn't have good vision because of her ocular malformations. So that's the only way she could see you, what you look like. And so she kind of does like this little screen where she checks you out, and then she's like, okay, cool, you pass. And that's it. So every time Parker comes over, he's like, all right, get it out of your system. And so she comes up and she's and then she runs away. And that's it. That's what she does. But you guys, the barking and the yelping and the howling, she is loud and she's obnoxious, but she's my schnoodle. She's amazing. I get a lot of questions of why she's always separate and why she's by herself. My dogs aren't always by themselves. So I do this thing called crate and rotate. So no one is ever by themselves. So Sophia will be behind a gate, but we'll all be downstairs, or all the little ones will be behind the gate and then I'll be downstairs with Ernie, or Wesley will be downstairs with Ernie and I'll be upstairs with the double and Sophia. Or, you know, they're just never, it's never Sophia and Ernie. So we'll do a whole lot of mix-ups and lottos and different gates. So if we're all upstairs watching TV, we're all upstairs watching TV, except she'll be behind the gate in my office, or Ernie will be behind the gate by the catwalk. So there is enough baby gates to keep them separate but still together. I know deep down Ernie loves her sister. Ernie loves to be around Sophia. She just won't accept her, and it drives me bananas because Ernie is such a loving, super loyal, super fun dog, and I'll never understand. But I know that once I'm ready to reunite them, I'll have to take a couple classes with Mr. Pitt on how to do it properly and make sure that they can get along in a healthy and family loving kind of way. I wish Mr. Pitt could cure assholism. Oh, Sophia. Oh man, we're getting like super seductive lighting over here. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoy learning about Sophia. I'm hoping, I'm praying that I can record her doing her little howl for you guys because it's my entire life. I'll come home. Seriously, this lighting, is it bothering you guys? Because I feel like it's a little, it's kind of nice, right? It's making me glow like an angel. And then it stops. It's like, calm down, Dani. Anyway, I really hope she lets me record her doing her little howl because it's so funny. You guys want to do their little, you want to hear a little howl for them? Sophia. Sophia. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so pretty. You guys, if I let her hair grow out, she would look so funny. Really cute, but I'd have to brush her every day. So that's part 3 of 4 parts, you guys. The only one left is Ernie, and she's gonna be a breeze. She's so easy to talk about, and she's so easy to film, and she loves the camera. I will leave a link to the playlist of all my other dogs, Wesley and Totopo's story, so that you guys can enjoy those as well. And anything else that I mentioned will be listed in the description box of this video. But I think that's it for little Sophie LaRue. You want to say bye? Do you want to tell them y'all know what to do? If you found this video useful, entertaining, and learned something, please give us 2 paws up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye, guys!